So the second video for the 9E notes, I will begin with example 3 here. Suppose a person is riding in a hot air balloon 144 feet above the ground. He drops an apple. The height of the apple above the ground is given by this formula. The height, h, is equal to negative 16t squared plus 144, where h is the height in feet and t is its time in seconds since it's been dropped. How long does it take the apple to hit the ground? So we're given a formula that we can use. So we know that h is equal to negative 16t squared plus 144. We want to know how long it takes for the apple to hit the ground. Now, we've talked about this before. For it to hit the ground, that means that the height at the ground, the height is actually equal to 0. So that's how far it is above the ground. So h is 0. So we're going to put a 0 in for the h. And we're looking for the time that takes for that to happen. So this is going to be equal to negative 16t squared plus 144. Now to solve it, we're going to have to solve. I guess you could use perhaps trinomial or difference of squares, actually too. But what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to subtract 144, and then I'll get a negative 144 equals negative 16t squared. And then I'm going to divide both sides by the negative 16. And that is going to give me, let's see. So that will give me 9 is equal to t squared. I chose this method because I saw that I didn't have any more t's. I just had a square term and then the 144. So I chose to do this route. So remember that when we have a square is equal to a number, we can take the square root of both sides and get that t is equal to plus or minus 3. So the square root of 9, I guess I could say t is equal to plus or minus the square root of 9, which is plus or minus 3. So I get two answers. Again, because time represents seconds, we know it can't be negative, so our answer is just going to be positive 3 seconds. For example 4, the volume V of a cylinder is given by the formula V is equal to pi r squared h, where r is the radius and h is the height. A cylinder with a height of 10 feet has a volume of 140 feet cubed. To the nearest tenth of a foot, what is the radius of the cylinder? So we have a formula. V is equal to pi r squared h. We're given that, and we know r is the radius, h is the height. It has a height of 10 feet, so there's my h there. So h is going to be 10, so we'll put a 10 in for the h. And as a volume of 140, so there's the V for volume. So the 140 is going to go in for the V. And so now we've got then pi r squared times 6 times 10. All right, so we want to solve this. So we're going to need to divide both by the 10 and by the pi. So I am going to divide by pi and 10. I'm going to put the 10 in the front. 10 pi on both sides. And then that's going to give me over here, the pi's are going to cancel, the 10's are going to cancel, and I'm left with r squared. And then I've got this, I guess I could actually cancel the zeros, but we don't need to because we're going to use a calculator. So I'm going to have 140 over 10 pi is equal to r squared. To solve it for r squared, I need to take the square root of both sides. So that's going to give me an r is equal to, and I'm going to put the plus or minus because I get two answers, the square root of 140 over 10 pi. So what you're going to do now is go to your calculator and try putting in that fraction and see if you can get the answer. All right, so here it is. We're going to do a radical, so square root. So hit Control square root. Oops, didn't give me anything, did it? Let's hit a calculator here. So Control square root, and then inside of there we want a fraction, so I'm going to hit Control and hit the division. That puts a fraction inside of there. Then in the numerator we want to put 140, and then in the denominator we want to use 10 pi, so 10. And then you can see the pi button right here. You can see it right there. So I'll hit this, and then you'll see the pi right there. We'll put 10 pi. And then we just want to enter, and we get 2.111. It says, what is the, it said to the nearest tenth, what is the radius of the cylinder? So it's going to be 2 and 1/10. All right, so we have 2 and 1/10. In this case, it is feet. Okay.